see all members of committee are here. Plus, we have, I believe, all council folks are here. Am I missing anybody? And along with the mayor, finance director, did I get the title right? And the law director as well. You see before you the minutes dated May 18th, 2021. Are there any changes, corrections, comments? Seeing none, those minutes are approved as submitted. And we're here to discuss T-115, 2023, an ordinance amending the numbering system for the city of North Ridgeville, legislation starting in the year 2024. Quite frankly, I'm going to break a little bit with the tradition and request that Councilman Jacobs explain this particular legislation.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Abens. So as you guys are all aware, we currently use a numbering system whereby we assign a temporary number, and that temporary number follows the legislation while it's on our agenda or while it's in committee. And then, as we often hear Nick read at the council meetings, the motion passes and becomes ordinance such and such, or becomes resolution such and such. And so as it turns out, I'm sure it's not a surprise to some of you, we don't know of another city that does it that way. All of the other cities that we are aware of do not use temporary numbers. I know that our assistant clerk of council, with her past experiences, those cities utilize a system similar to what is proposed in 115, as has Director Lieber as well has commented on this as well. But 115 proposes to change the numbering system starting in January of 2024 to basically have a simplified numbering sequence, which the number that's originally assigned to the legislation would be retained even after adoption. The legislation would be assigned starting with the 4-digit year and then followed by the number 1 and then just sequentially there on out for the rest of the year. And if legislation is not adopted, then it just would simply never become an ordinance or resolution, and that number that was assigned would just reflect the defeated legislation. After the proposal is essentially after December 31st, 2023, that T number prefixes would no longer be used.
Okay. Are there any questions from members of committee?
No, I just think it's going to make it a lot easier to go back and find things too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Members of council, any questions, comments? Administration? Okay. Well, on this, I'm looking for a motion then.
Mr. Chairman, I move to send this back to council for further consideration.
Second.
It was moved by Councilman Winkle to accept or send it back to council for review, seconded by Councilman DeVries. All those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? It will be sent back. The second item on the agenda is an ordinance amending ordinance 4268-2006, number 2752-93, NO 1922-84, and 155979, number 127577, providing for salary changes for council members and council president effective January 1st, 2026. As it states, I did introduce this. I have to admit, one of the biggest reasons I did it was I was hearing too many comments from citizens that they were not interested in becoming council people because they didn't think the remuneration that we received was worth the headaches that we might have. And also I noticed, especially in the case of Ward 3, my ward, no one stepped up to run against me. While I have to admit, I was thankful for that. I don't think it was necessarily good for North Ridgeville. They should have a choice. And so I decided that it's time to raise our pay since it hadn't happened since 2008. And so that's why I decided to do this. Are there any questions or comments from members of committee?
Mr. Chairman, I looked at some figures from other cities. It seems like what you're proposing does make us get closer to what other cities of our size currently do. It doesn't seem like it's exceeding what cities of other sizes around our area are doing. So it seems reasonable. There's a long lead time before it even goes into effect as well. So it seems reasonable to me.
Okay. All right, at this point, I'll open it up to members of council. Any comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman, there's a stipulation here that the president does make more.
Correct.
I agree with that. It's more work being the president.
Yes, that's something that I have to admit I've been wanting to correct for a number of years now, and felt that this was a good time to do it. And it still does not bring him up to compare with other communities, but at least it's a start. And it does help convey the importance of the position itself. Any comments from members of council?
Mr. Chair, I can just add that I did ask the Assistant Clerk of Council to take a look at surrounding cities to see, you know, what they're paying council members as well as presidents of council. There are, I don't know the exact number, but I don't know, maybe 18 cities here on the list. You know, I was looking at the ones more, you know, close to North Ridgeville, so namely Westlake, Avon, Elyria, North Olmsted. And when you take a look at the salaries in those cities compared to the population size, you know, and then compare that to North Ridgeville, the average among those cities is a bit higher than North Ridgeville, even with the $2,000 increase that you are proposing. So, you know, while it is an increase, yes, it's still, from my estimation, based on these numbers, would keep us below average compared to our surrounding cities. In that same, you know, when she was gathering those numbers as well, she also looked at the salaries for president of council, and I think every city on the list, with the exception of one, does have a differential in what they pay the president of council. So again, looking at those 4 cities that I named, I don't have my exact numbers in front of me, but I want to say it was roughly $2,700 was the average difference between, you know, a council person and the president of council.
I tend to agree with you there. And if you notice too, some of those same cities offer an increase in pay for the president pro tem. I thought that would be a conflict of interest personally, so I decided not to put that in there. But anyone else?
I just want to say that it hasn't been increased, I don't think, for 20 years, right?
Since 2008, if my memory serves me correctly.
Okay, so it'd be like,
Oh, okay.
17 years.
So,
yeah, a number of years. So it's probably time to increase it.
and quite frankly, I didn't ask for more because I know the city is going to be involved in negotiations with unions in the coming months, and didn't think that it would be a good idea to raise our pay too much in order to give them a point. Any comments from the administration?
Through the chair, I had a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to say that I feel like the council president, he does, I don't want to say he does more than we do, but he does have to meet with the mayor, and he does have other responsibilities on top of what we do.
That in
typically do.
itself should be worth something.
But I'm in agreement with giving the president an additional. I think that's, you know, he does more work.
Absolutely. Any other comments?
Yeah, we haven't seen any of those numbers that you're relying on for your.
Oh, the comparisons?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have our council clerk forward those to you.
That'd be great.
And Yeah, and so, any other comments? No action is required on this since it will be read tonight. And any other issues, comments? Seeing none, this meeting's adjourned.